Behind many attitudes that seem innocent, there hides an emotional trap that few dare to see. Today, we're going to explore the psychology of feminine immaturity, not to judge, but to understand why so many remain trapped inside an invisible prison. Stay until the end, because understanding this pattern could explain why relationships, identity, and freedom slowly fall apart. Something breaks inside when a woman repeats the same pattern over and over again. It's not naivety nor lack of opportunity. It's an old way of existing in the world without taking full ownership of it, a psychological trench where many hide to avoid growing up. This is not about blame. It's about facing what has been denied, immaturity as an emotional refuge. Many hold on to a childish version of themselves because in that place there are no demands. Responsibility does not enter. There's always someone else to blame. The father, the boyfriend, the system. It's easier to blame than to look at yourself without filters, without excuses. Feminine immaturity is not a whim. It's a defense mechanism born from fear that has been cultivated for centuries. It's not real fragility, but emotional dependence disguised as sweetness. Avoiding the dizziness of autonomy becomes the goal, because freedom comes with a price. It means losing privilege. And though immaturity is destructive, it allows one to avoid the weight of adulthood. Some never grow because the script they inherited promised reward for their vulnerability. If they were fragile, they'd be protected. If they avoided responsibility, someone else would take care of it. For centuries, that strategy worked. But the world changed, and those who still cling to that role are left without answers, without tools, without a way out. Society reinforces the problem. It celebrates sweetness, rewards emotional fragility, validates submission disguised as sensitivity, but it punishes those who break the mold, those who choose integrity, autonomy, and self-awareness. Women who stop playing the role are called cold, harsh, difficult, because a mature woman cannot be controlled. Immaturity, on the other hand, is comfortable. It doesn't demand healing. It doesn't ask you to face your wounds or own your mistakes. It only asks you to maintain the character, even if it hurts, even if it destroys, even if it isolates you. But what was once tolerated eventually becomes unbearable. The tantrum stops working. The pleading gaze becomes manipulation, and the world starts to pull away. Because even self-deception has its limits. Some cling to their chosen persona. The girl, the princess, the enchantress. 3 different masks. Same origin. Fear of responsibility. It's not a lack of intelligence. It's an obsolete identity that no longer fits. Immaturity stops protecting and starts sabotaging everything. Relationships, friendships, dreams, even the future itself. This isn't about moralizing or dictating how women should be. It's about recognizing that the old model is broken, that expecting someone else to carry the weight of your life is not innocence. It's emotional negligence. And negligence always leaves victims. Drained partners, broken friendships, confused children, abandoned paths. The pain of immaturity isn't always visible. It hides in loneliness that can't be explained, in emptiness that can't be filled, in anger that can't be justified. Because many don't understand why everything falls apart, why nothing feels enough, why relationships fail one after another, why no one responds to their call. The answer is brutal but simple. Because they keep acting as if life owes them something. But life gives no explanations. It simply moves on, and those who fail to adapt are left behind. Many reach that moment unprepared, without emotional tools, without a solid identity, armed only with excuses and unhealed wounds. Then comes bitterness, resentment, a subtle hatred, a way of seeing the world as the culprit of an unowned tragedy. The woman who refuses to grow seeks someone to blame because she doesn't know how to hold herself up. And in that desperate search, she begins to attack everything she can't control. She despises the man who won't be manipulated. She rejects the woman who chose maturity. She sabotages opportunities because keeping the character feels safer than failing as an adult. But no one can carry another person's life forever. No one can love endlessly someone who refuses to grow. No one can save someone who doesn't want to be saved. Immaturity doesn't disappear by itself. It settles in, adapts, contaminates everything it touches. Sometimes it looks like constant need for validation. Sometimes it's the inability to handle even the smallest conflict. Other times, it's disguised rage that explodes at the slightest friction with reality. It's a way of living anesthetized, always running from the core issue, the fear of no longer being fragile. Because learned fragility isn't true weakness, it's a strategy. And like any strategy, it has an expiration date. It worked centuries ago, when survival demanded submission, when power was forbidden from birth. But that world is gone. And yet, the inner software keeps running the same commands: please, seduce, evade, blame, cry, until nothing works anymore, until life stops rewarding it, until the world demands presence, strength, coherence. And in that space, there's no room for emotional games, no space for tantrums, for castles made of sand. Everything collapses, and among the ruins lies the woman who never learned to stand on her own. Then begins the darkest stage, the war against reality, attacking everything that can't be controlled, despising love that won't kneel, rejecting honesty that holds up the mirror, destroying bonds, dreams, paths, because taking responsibility means killing a part of herself. It means burying the little girl who justified everything. It means leaving behind the comfort of victimhood. Not everyone is willing to take that step. Some would rather destroy than transform. They prefer hatred to the discomfort of change. They choose psychological warfare over inner reconstruction. And at that point, it's no longer just immaturity. It's cruelty. It's deliberate manipulation. It's resentment turned into a way of life. But those who choose to grow lose everything. They lose the right to blame. They lose the comfort of illusion. They lose the excuse that once justified every failure. To mature is to lose, but it's also to gain. To gain clarity. To gain strength. To gain true freedom. It means no longer waiting for someone else to fix what you keep breaking. It means choosing the weight of freedom over the comfort of dependency. It's a leap without a net. A renunciation without guarantees. A bet on a version of yourself you haven't yet met. But that version exists. It's waiting on the other side of fear, beyond the inherited script. It only appears when the character dies, when you stop repeating what you've seen, when you decide to face what hurts, without anesthesia, without excuses. It's not easy. It's not quick. It's not comfortable. But it's real. And the truth, no matter how raw, frees you far more than any beautiful illusion ever could. Because maturity, with all its weight, is the only path to a life that isn't an endless performance. Immaturity cannot hide forever. Sooner or later, it demands its price. If this message stirred something within you, don't ignore it. Like, share, and comment if this resonated with you. And remember, here, we dare to face what the world prefers to hide. See you in the next video.